Hey everyone, thanks for joining me again for this month's episode of the Uptime. I'm Jemiah Sias, and it's my job to tell you what's new, improved, and generally cool with New Relic. Logging is an aspect of IT and dev work that can either save your butt or bury you under a metric ton of useless messages, and sometimes both. Because of this, practitioners need to stay up on the most current methods of both logging and keeping those logs from running amok, the way NRQL does when he gets into my jar of medical grade catnip. As with many things at New Relic, we're here for you. In October, we released our 2022 State of Logs report. You'll find a link to it in the show notes so you can view or download it for free. And this report provides insights into what folks are using to collect, sort, transport, and manage logs, whether they're on-prem, in the cloud, or somewhere in between. And what's that? Colo? I guess. For example, FluentBit is the most used open source processor and log forwarding tool amongst New Relic users, with 38% of our customers using it. What's even better is we give you the facts and figures to back up the tools so you can understand if it's time for a change and convince your teams or managers with data, not opinions. As practitioners who are invested in observability, it's not a revelation for me to tell you that data retention is key to understanding your environment. Here at New Relic, we have a few options for retention. Most data is kept for 8 days as standard. You could opt for extended retention, which will keep your data longer, starting at an additional 30 days and increasing from there. You could go all in with Data Plus and get 90 days of additional retention on everything. Or you could go super duper all in with Data Plus and extended retention to get everything at 90 days, and you could choose to keep some data even longer. But what you couldn't do until now is get any of that without talking to a salesperson. And we know how much IT folks love talking to sales. But now look, our sales teams are great people, and I even have friends in sales. But there are times, especially for New Relic customers who manage their services themselves, when stopping what you're doing, picking up the phone, and hashing out a contract is not where your bandwidth is needed. Which is why we've changed New Relic to easily extend your data retention directly in the platform, giving you controls to decide how long you need your data for compliance or performing long-term analysis. I also have to point out yet again that the Data Plus plan comes with so much more than just retention. You see, that's why we call it Plus. You also get 3 times the maximum query limit, 10 times the maximum duration per query, streaming, historical data export, logs obfuscation, HIPAA, and FedRAMP compliance. Normally, this is where I'd say call to find out more, but that's the whole point. You don't have to call. Just check your New Relic account and pick what's best for you. Now, whether your particular IT jam is dev, DevOps, or plain old ops, it's a safe bet that you use variables. Even you network folks, don't think I don't see you over there with your Python configuration scripts. Now let's be honest, variable makes your work easier, your day brighter, and they may even make you more attractive. So it should come as no surprise that we're adding some variable-based features to make your observability strategy that much better. And let's start with the backend. NRQL now supports variables, and that in itself is a pretty big deal for anyone who's had to manage long-winded queries. But it gets even better. Along with queries, you can now perform regular expression multi-capture with a new anchor parse feature. This lets you use regular expressions to extract one or more sub-elements from your longer strings and assign them to individual variables for use in other parts of your query, including things like sorting, grouping, or math operations. And to top it all off, you can now use if statements within your queries, allowing you to do some almost magical things like creating a mini decision tree to filter your observability data and telemetry. So that's the party in the back. But we're also adding variables to all your business up front. New Relic Dashboards also support variables now. You can add a drop-down, checkbox, or other selection type elements to your dashboards and assign a variable name to that element. Then you update your variables in your NRQL queries based on the selection that's made in your dashboard, changing the data that's being displayed in your UI. For more details around NRQL variables, check the show notes. We've talked about VPC flow log integrations here before on the Uptime, but just because we release a new capability, it doesn't mean we're done. Like all good developers, or maybe it's like all obsessed developers, we keep on tinkering with things to see if we can make them even better. And in the case of flow logs, that means adding support for the Google Cloud Platform. Yep, I'm about to say GCP, VPC a lot. You're welcome. With GCP VPC flow log integrations, you can now monitor and issue alerts about your network traffic within your VPC in New Relic. It adds network performance information like bytes and packets per second, as well as accept and rejects per second across every TCP or UDP port. This gives you the ability to find unexpected changes in your network volume or health, diagnose overly restrictive security group rules, and uncover potentially malicious traffic issues. When you're troubleshooting your Kubernetes application, you need to understand the messages being transmitted between different services. To help you, our Pixie solution uses eBPF to provide automatic tracing, which creates a service map of your entire cluster. This allows you to parse payloads with full body requests and response and identify full database queries. The result is that you'll understand throughput, latency, and error rates across your entire service. Check the show notes for more detail. And that ought to do it for this episode. As always, if you want updates around future episodes of the Uptime, there's the good old like and subscribe buttons on your screen. Until next month, thanks for watching.